I want to ask you something. I want you to actually think about it before you answer. Who are you? Not your job, not your title, not what your parents said you were, or what your past tried to convince you of. Who are you? Because here's what I've learned after serving in the Army as a medic, working in the emergency rooms across the country, and living about 10 different lives before I turned 40. Most people never answer that question. And that silence, that's what's keeping them stuck. My name is Brian, and if you're someone who's been drifting, questioning, or just trying to figure out how to actually build a life that means something, you're in the right place. Welcome. I grew up in South Carolina, and I want to be real with you. I wasn't handed some perfect roadmap for life. I was just a kid from the South trying to figure out who I was and where I belonged. So I did what a lot of young boys do when they need direction. I joined the Army. And not just any role, I became a medic, which means my job at 18, 19, and 20 years old was to keep people alive in the worst moments of their lives, under pressure that most people will never experience. And that did something to me. It wired me in a way I didn't fully understand at the time. It built discipline in me. It built grit. It built this deep sense that life is fragile and that every single day matters. When I got out of the Army, I didn't stop moving. I worked the front desk at a gym. I drove trucks. I did landscaping. I transported patients in the hospital. I washed cars. And eventually, I went back to school, became a registered nurse. I did ER nursing, PACU nursing, med-surg, telemetry, IV therapy. I've done it all. I moved from South Carolina all the way to Southern California. I reinvented myself more times than I can count. And here's what all that taught me. Your identity is not fixed. It's not something that gets decided for you. It's something you build every single day. But here's the thing. Most people don't believe that. Most people are walking around with an identity that was handed to them by their family, by their failures, by a job they hate, or a season of life that broke them down. And they accepted it. They made peace with the version of themselves that isn't even theirs. I've seen this in the ER. I've seen people come in physically broken, and I can tell you, sometimes the body is just reflecting what the mind and spirit gave up on a long time ago. I felt it myself. There were seasons in my life where I didn't know who I was or where I was going, where the noise of life got so loud I couldn't hear anything else. I couldn't hear my own voice, and I couldn't hear God's voice. If you've ever felt that, lost, stuck, like you've been living somebody else's life, I want you to know that's not your destiny. That's just where you are right now, and right now can change. So I want to share 3 identity shifts that changed my life. 3 things I had to learn, sometimes the hard way, that took me from drifting to purposeful. And I'm going to back each one of those with truth that goes deeper than motivation, because motivation fades, truth doesn't. Shift number 1, stop defining yourself by what you do. When I was in the Army, I was a medic. That was everything. That was my identity. And when I got out, I felt like I lost a piece of myself because I made the mistake of confusing what I did for who I was. A lot of people do this. They say, I'm a nurse, I'm a veteran, I'm a failure, I'm divorced. They put a label on themselves and they live inside that box for the rest of their life. But Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not as a man does, as a man thinks. Your identity starts in your mind. What you believe about yourself, not in your job title, not in your past, not in what someone else called you. The first shift is this. Stop defining yourself by your role and start defining yourself by your values. Ask yourself, what do I actually stand for? What kind of man or woman do I want to be? Start there. Shift number 2, embrace the reinvention. I've had more jobs than most people have had in a lifetime. And for a while, I was embarrassed by that. I felt like it meant I couldn't commit or I didn't have direction, like something was wrong with me. But here's what I've come to believe. God uses every single chapter. Nothing is wasted. Driving that truck taught me patience and solitude. Working at the gym taught me about health and community. Every ER patient I ever cared for taught me something about the human spirit. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose, all things. Not just the comfortable things, not just the season that makes sense, all of it. So if you're in a chapter right now that feels random or broken, don't despise it. Learn from it. Grow through it. God is writing something bigger than you can see right now. Shift number 3. Discipline is an act of faith. The Army didn't just teach me how to save lives. It taught me the power of showing up, especially when you don't feel like it. That's discipline. And I've come to believe that discipline is one of the most spiritual things you can practice. Because when you choose to get up early, take care of your body, do the work, keep your word, you're saying something. You're saying, I believe there's a future worth building. I believe my actions matter. I believe I am worth investing in. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 says, your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. That means how you treat yourself, physically, mentally, and spiritually, is an act of worship or an act of neglect. There is no neutral. Discipline is not punishment. It's honor. It's choosing to become who God already says you are. All right. Let me bring this home. 3 shifts. Let me recap them real quick. Number 1, stop defining yourself by what you do. Define yourself by what you value and who you're becoming. Number 2, embrace the reinvention. Every chapter has a purpose, even when you can't see it yet. Number 3, treat discipline as an act of faith. Show up for yourself because you believe there's something worth showing up for. Here's your action step for this week. I want you to write down 3 things. Number 1, label you've been carrying that doesn't belong to you. Number 2, one chapter in your life that felt like a detour but actually taught you something. And number 3, one discipline habit, just one, that you're going to commit to this week. Small, specific, and doable. Write it down, put it somewhere you can see it, and then do it. That's where change actually starts. I started this channel because I've lived a lot of life. And I've been in the trenches, literally and figuratively. I've worked with my hands and with my heart. And everything I've been through has brought me to this, a genuine desire to help people live better, think better, and grow closer to the person God designed them to be. That's what this channel is all about. Mindset, faith, discipline, real talk, no fluff. If this video spoke to you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment below, and tell me what's one label you've been carrying that you're ready to let go of. I read every single one. And next week, we're going to talk about why discipline is the foundation that everything else gets built on, and how you build it even when your motivation is completely gone. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for being here. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one.